I used to brag about my husband, Greg. A hardworking, quiet man who loved his job, their family dinners, our two kids. He had been a project manager at a big tech firm for over a decade. A team player. 40 hours a week. Absolutely nothing flashy. Until I got that email from HR forwarding me a message. We noticed a video circulating internally showing inappropriate conduct in the office. Please review. Curious, I opened it and watched. There they were. Him. Her. Caught relaxing together in the back office lounge, over drinks that had clearly nothing to do with work. But here's the twist. I didn't defend my marriage with tears or confrontation. I did it my way. If you've ever caught someone dead to rights, hit like, subscribe, and comment exposed, because I didn't just lose my trust. I lost his entire little fantasy. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even forward the video to my best friend. I opened the blank email, addressed it to 3 people I found on his company's public directory: the HR director, the senior ethics officer, and the chief legal counsel. Subject line: internal misconduct. Time-stamped evidence attached. I knew better than to send the video itself. That would violate every digital security policy they had. So I attached a brief, sterile, and bulletproof document, summarizing the footage, listing exact timestamps, referencing the office lounge security layout, and including quotes from emails I pulled from Greg's own laptop, which he'd foolishly left unlocked at home. The closing line read, "If this behavior violates your company's code of conduct, I trust you'll take appropriate action. If not, I'll forward it to the investors myself." I didn't even sign it with my name. 3 hours later, I got a reply from the legal counsel. "Thank you for your discretion. This will be escalated immediately." From HR, "We'd like to request a confidential conversation to verify the material. Can we set up a Zoom?" By the time Greg came home that night, he was unusually quiet. No mention of work. No offhand complaints about Janine. That's her name. The woman from the video. The woman he'd once called just a work friend. I poured wine and asked how his day went. "Fine," he mumbled. "Oh," I said, raising my glass. I figured it might have been eventful. His eyes snapped toward me. I held the glass steady, smiled politely, and toasted. To team players. He didn't sleep that night, but I did. Peacefully. Because I knew that first thing Monday morning, his work friend would be called into a compliance meeting she wouldn't walk out of with her badge. And Greg? He was about to learn what happens when you build your affairs inside an institution that monitors everything. They didn't just fire her. They froze the entire team's digital access. On Tuesday morning, Greg tried to log into his company portal and couldn't. By noon, his company-issued phone had been disabled. By 2 p.m., an IT van pulled up outside our house and asked to retrieve his laptop. "Just some security updates," the man said. Greg, shaken but trying to act unbothered, handed it over like he didn't have 2 years' worth of private Slack messages, late-night Teams calls, and video files saved in folders labeled Q3 assets that had nothing to do with quarterly performance. What they found wasn't just unprofessional. It was illegal. Expense reports falsified, client dinners charged under his name that never happened. Private downloads from torrent sites and encrypted drives. Explicit content shared via work chat to at least 2 other women. The cherry on top? One video titled Vegas Presentation Prep showed him shirtless on a hotel bed with Janine, laughing as he clicked through what should have been the budget proposal slides. The company issued a notice of termination by end of day Wednesday. It was delivered to our house in a heavy envelope on official company letterhead. Inside was a list of violations, citations, and a warning. If he contested any part of the severance package, they would file a report with FINRA and the SEC due to client confidentiality breaches. I was in the kitchen when he opened it. He didn't say a word. So I did. "You didn't just lose a job, Greg. You lost the last place that still respected you. He looked at me, hollow-eyed, and asked, "Did you do this?" I took a slow sip of tea and replied, "No, Greg. You did this. I just made sure someone was finally watching." Greg's final paycheck hit the account on Friday. A severance package reduced by compliance penalties and equipment retrieval fees. It wasn't the golden parachute he imagined he'd fall back on.
No applause. No cake.
Just a cold deposit and an NDA he hadn't even read before signing in panic. I saw him try to transfer half of it into a private account, one I hadn't touched since we opened it for a vacation fund. I watched quietly as the transaction bounced. He didn't realize I'd already frozen it. He didn't know the bank still sent me alerts. But what he really didn't know, I wasn't done yet. See, in one of Janine's videos, the ones that had circulated internally and landed her name in a company-wide memo titled Office Relationships and Ethical Boundaries, Greg had been talking a little too freely.
Drunk.
Shirtless. Bragging. Janine's husband is a joke. Guy works night shifts. Never home. Probably thinks she's a saint. So I found him. Took me one weekend, one reverse search, and one late-night DM with a simple message. "Hi.
You don't know me.
But I think your wife and my husband have been sharing more than spreadsheets." Attached? A screenshot of the severance deposit. Captioned, "This is what they paid him to go away. I thought you deserved a copy."
He didn't reply. Not then.
But 2 days later, Greg got a knock on the door. It wasn't angry. It wasn't violent. It was Janine, with her suitcase. Her mascara was ruined. Her voice hoarse. "I need somewhere to go," she said. Greg looked at me like I might beg him not to take her in. But I just smiled. "Perfect timing," I said. "I just changed the locks. And the lease is in my name." Then I shut the door. Behind it, 2 betrayals stood blinking in the cold. I didn't set out to become a podcaster. But when you survive betrayal this layered, this calculated, this office-sponsored, you either bottle it up or you broadcast it. So I recorded an episode. No names. No companies. No dates. Just truth. I titled it, "The Work Wife You Never Hired, A Cautionary Tale." Within a week, it went semi-viral. Women across LinkedIn and Reddit found it. One therapist even wrote to say she played it for her clients navigating infidelity in corporate-adjacent marriages. But that wasn't the part that made Greg unhireable. That came from a listener who just so happened to work in background checks and recruitment verification. She emailed me, "Hey, I know who you're talking about. He just applied for a role through our agency. I've flagged the story as unverified media appearance in his pre-screen file. Don't worry, legally clean, but professionally fatal. You see, recruiters may not use gossip to make final hiring decisions, but they absolutely share it to avoid the fallout." Greg didn't know I'd connected with a small army of ex-employees from his former job, people who quietly leaked more footage, Slack messages, and expense reports. We created a group chat titled Team Karma. So when Greg applied to 3 new jobs over the next 2 months and got nothing but silence in return, I wasn't surprised. He started to suspect. He started pacing. Started blaming a smear campaign. He even accused me of running one. I simply said, "Oh no, Greg. It's not a smear. It's a stain. And you spilled it yourself." As for Janine, her husband filed for divorce. She moved out of state. And me, I kept podcasting. Because somewhere out there, another woman is watching her partner pack for a conference in Dallas. And when she finds out the truth, she won't be alone. Comment, "The stain never washes out" if you believe justice doesn't always need a courtroom. Like, subscribe, and send this to anyone who's ever called their mistress a coworker.